No. Mr. Jenkins shoved his hands into his pockets. How many people live in the house? Gabe asked. 2. A man and a woman. Mr. Jenkins said. Young. Seen them come and go. Never introduced themselves. No skin off my nose, but a lot of folks don't like it. Most of the neighbors round here are friendly. We look out for each other. Any other comings and goings? Seth asked. He'd worked on a drug task force. Possible violence always sent his mind to drug dealers. No, Mr. Jenkins shook his head. Never seen anyone else go in or out other than the man and woman. Odd. Thank you, sir. Gabe nodded to the old man. We'll take care of it from here. Gabe, Bruce, and Seth stepped off the porch. Let me get my gear. Seth stopped at his vehicle and opened his trunk to pull out his Kevlar vest. He shrugged out of his coat and suit jacket, tossed them into the trunk, and closed the lid. Donning the vest over his dress shirt, Seth checked his weapon and joined Gabe and Bruce on the sidewalk. The rain soaked his clothes, but Seth did not like his movement limited by a coat. Ready? Gabe asked. Seth secured the vest's Velcro straps around his torso. Ready. Rain soaked Seth's hair and dripped into his eyes. He studied Bruce for a few seconds as they approached the door. His brother-in-law was so fresh, his campaign hat still perched on an Academy buzz cut. But Bruce's eyes were determined. 24 years old, he'd once been a musician, a dreamer, a perpetual teenager. The year before, his serious girlfriend had been murdered, and Bruce had been left for dead. He'd aged a decade since then. Seth had no doubt that Bruce would be a good cop, but he wasn't taking any chances with his wife's baby brother. There was no substitute for experience, and Bruce didn't have any yet. Gabe checked his watch. It's only been 6 minutes since the original call. We were 2 blocks away responding to a prowler report when it came in. Was the prowler the shooter? Or was the shooter still inside the house? Seth brushed water off his forehead. Let's do this. The 3 men jogged up the driveway, past a Ford Explorer with Oregon plates, and approached the front door. Weapons drawn, Gabe and Seth flanked the entry. Gabe motioned Bruce to take up a position as his wingman. Seth's skin tingled and his pulse kicked up a notch as he rested his finger just outside his trigger guard and waited. Gabe pushed the doorbell, but no chime sounded. He knocked on the door. When no one responded, he pounded harder with a fist and yelled, "Police!" Inside the house, something thudded. The hair on the back of Seth's neck lifted. He switched on his flashlight. Gabe looked over his shoulder at Bruce, who nodded. Gabe reached for the knob. Locked. Let's check the back. They jogged around the house and took the same positions at the back door. 9 individual panes of glass comprised the top half of the door. Gabe pointed to a missing pane above the knob. Seth shone his flashlight around the doorway. The pane of glass, leaning on the house next to the door, gleamed in the light. The point of entry. Gabe turned the doorknob and pushed the door inward. The silence that greeted them seemed to have its own heartbeat. Seth's pulse echoed in his ears as they crossed the threshold. The door opened directly into a kitchen. A card table and 2 metal folding chairs had been set up in the eating area. Gabe opened a door. Pantry. Empty. They moved through an arched doorway. The living and dining rooms combined in the shape of an L. A stairwell on the far wall led to the second floor. With his back to the wall, Seth swept the beam of his flashlight around the living room, piercing all the shadowy corners with light. No people. No furniture. Just a big expanse of scuffed hardwood floor. The absence of furniture made clearing the first floor a quick job. 2 jackets hung in the closet near the front door. The men moved from the living room into the dining area, then approached the stairway. In front, Seth took the lead, creeping up the steps with Gabe and Bruce at his back. On the landing, he moved left toward an open doorway. Staying behind the doorframe,